All right. Hello. Good morning, everybody. It is September 12th, 2023, 9:21 a.m. And today, Apple is going to be showing off their latest iPhone 15. Put in the chat what iPhone you have. If you do have an iPhone, I am currently still on my iPhone 12 Pro Max. I had an iPhone 8 Plus for about 3 years before I upgraded to the 12 Pro Max. And honestly, it's been one of the best phones I've ever had. I don't really see the need to upgrade, but we'll see what Apple comes out with today. Apple stock is struggling pretty aggressively right now because China last week banned 40 million government officials, local and federal, from being able to use iPhones, which means as a result, they can't use other Apple products like AirPods as well. As a result, that has had direct pressures on Apple stock, which was at $1.3 trillion this year, now back down to around $2.8 trillion. Some people on the street are saying this is a massive buying opportunity because you're getting a dip once again in a generational company like Apple. Other people are saying there are no S-curves left. There are no cars. There's no Netflix acquisition. Services is the only thing that's going to grow. In order for services to grow, the installed user base has to grow, and that means they have to sell a lot more phones, and it's just likely they're not going to be able to sell that many more phones. Today is going to be a determining factor outside of the Vision Pro for what is the future trajectory of growth for Apple, and it's going to be really exciting to see what happens. Islander, Johnny Mac, Nicholas, Billy Jack, Crossroads, Seth Roth, Astricus, Reza, David, Kumi, 8181, Inbound, George, Stein Sound, Hawk Sung, Ray, FR3110, Invest Engineer, Love Invest Engineer, Miami Ren, Joseph Ren, Ricardo, Broccoli Bob, Sanjay. Good morning to everyone. Thank you all for being here. Imnop, Aaron, Suri, James, Kimberly, Gaming with HB, Jason. All right, let's get into it. First of all, I forgot word of the day yesterday, and no one reminded me. So we got to do word of the day to start things off. I can't believe no one reminded me on word of the day. Mateo, Victor, Sasky Rose, thank you all for being here. But we've got to do word of the day. So here's the word of the day. And again, I can't make this thing up. This just happens. Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Hold on, let me play it again.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude is satisfaction or pleasure felt at someone else's misfortune. So, Schadenfreude is basically when you feel bad, when you feel good that someone else feels bad. And I think a lot of Tesla investors would agree with me that they had a lot of Schadenfreude last night after watching this clip by our good old friend Gordon Johnson talking about why the run-up in Tesla is just not justified. Let's listen to this.
But at the same time, I do because when you look at scale and size,
this company's valued at $400 billion. That's ridiculous. They sell 450,000 cars a year.
But it's valuation like a tech company.
And okay, sorry.
It's like a tech company. It's like a tech company. It's not being valued like an auto company.
98% of their gross
I know, but when you think about it's a battery.
I love when she was just like the way she's saying it. She sounds like so she's a host for some show on the Schwab Network, but she sounds like a regular retail investor. She's like, well, it's like a tech company. It's like a tech company, you know. It's not, and then Gordon, he gets even more pissed off because she's not sounding like a host. She's sounding like just a regular person throwing out the argument. Which even though she is correct, it's a tech company, not a car company. It's like, but it's not a tech company. It's no, the revenue. It's like it's not a tech. Yeah, I think a lot of Tesla investors felt some Schadenfreude seeing Gordon not be happy yesterday around Tesla. Now, speaking of Tesla, let's get into the market. The stocks today to watch are obviously Tesla and Apple. Tesla rose up 10% yesterday in a pretty dramatic fashion. I mean, seeing the company just run up like that on the note by Adam Jonas was incredible to see. I mean, when's the last time we got a 10% run up in Tesla? Tesla hit 296 52-week high on earnings day back in July. And then it just, proceeded to crash after that because earnings just weren't strong enough to justify it. So it'll be very interesting to see if the market can maintain the momentum. I am on the odds that it's going to be harder for the market to maintain that momentum because we've got a lot of data coming out around the markets over the next couple of weeks that, might be good, might be bad. And even if they're good, if the market doesn't agree that they're good, then, the market's not going to go up. I will probably be up tomorrow at 8:20 live streaming CPI. I've never live streamed CPI before. Tomorrow I want to because tomorrow's pretty monumental. And so I will probably be there tomorrow early in the morning checking out that CPI data. That CPI data is going to determine a lot. It's definitely going to determine where Tesla's going to go. It's determine where the Nasdaq's going to go. It's going to be very important. So let's keep an eye on Tesla today. Apple in the pre-market as we open up the day is 179.39. So, Apple, I think Apple's had around about a 7% correction since the highs. Some people are calling this a buying opportunity. Some people are saying to be very worried. I personally do not think this is a buying opportunity because Apple is heavily dependent on showing some level of growth. China is one of their biggest markets, and the company is not growing. I mean, revenue 2% year over year is just not something you pay for in terms of growth. Now, today could change that if they announce some amazing iPhone that we never heard of before, right? Like some just crazy features, but the company's not growing anymore. It's just not. And so if you invest in Apple, you are investing in the future trajectory of a vision for growth that you believe is going to be substantial and deliver long-term shareholder value. I don't know if at 2.8 trillion, they have a plan to do that yet. A lot of people are like, Apple will just figure it out. It's like, look, man, it gets harder and harder the bigger you get. It's just not that easy at the end of the day. Now, I think Apple eventually will figure out. They are part of everyone's 401k, so they better figure it out. But I don't know. There is an easy way for Apple to be like, well, we're just going to pay you a dividend and become a value company. It's a super easy way for Apple to do that. But I still think they want to grow. So if they want to grow, they're going to have to be able to show different elements of growth. Palantir 1557. We have AIPCon this Thursday. Super excited to see what Palantir is cooking up and what they've got in store for everyone for AIPCon. I've got a couple of videos coming out today for some of the thoughts I have expecting on some of the different companies they're working on. I did a video yesterday on their Palantir for Government Web Services. It's a log video, but I highly recommend watching it. You've got ontology SDKs. You've got a whole new understanding of how they're going to set up APIs for all their government data. I mean, it's really interesting stuff. So we'll see what Palantir does. And Truist, yesterday, I missed the news. I found it last night. They're cutting $300 million of expenses and about a couple thousand jobs. So that's the reason why Truist was up yesterday. They were at a conference yesterday and they announced a ton of job cuts. And those job cuts are why Truist is seeing a little bit more momentum here. Truist needs to be able to do this because honestly, their numbers have not been the best and they have to get their stuff in order. So until the Fed lowers rates, which might happen in 6 months from now if we're lucky, or probably 9 months, they got to figure out how to cut some costs. And so they announced yesterday they will be cutting costs to be able to get there. SoFi down 1%, the pre-market 879. All eyes are on Apple and Tesla today. No one is allowed to live stream the Apple event because if you do, they'll flag you. And we have some experience on the Finance Junkies getting literally our channel being suspended for almost a month because of that. So you have to be very careful with Apple because they don't want people distributing their content, even though it's marketing for Apple, but whatever, Let's see what Tim's got cooking up today. Nate says, the more I think about Palantir, the more they feel like a true tech conglomerate like Microsoft and Google. They will release so many things over the years. I continue to buy shares in this range. Yeah, I mean, I think that is the goal. If Palantir can become that tech conglomerate that is constantly innovating with new products in the B2B software space, there's a bright future ahead for them. 9:30 a.m., September 12th, 2023. Thank you all for spending your morning with me. The stock market is once again open. Wake your ass up. Here we go. SoFi, $8.83, down 0.79%. Apple, 179.22, basically flat as we open up the morning. Neo, $10.24, down about 1%. Alibaba, down 0.51%, $88. Twinkies, this was the company that got acquired yesterday at around $34. They're doing fine. They're up about 19% since yesterday. Fubo, this one is an interesting one. It's up 3%. It was up 10%. It was up 10% in the morning. It was down 18% because in the middle of the day, Disney struck a deal with Charter, which means that no one needs to go to Fubo anymore. So this one's a very volatile one, and Disney, it seems like, determines a lot of their trajectory, or at least 18% of their trajectory. So Fubo up today, but it was down heavily yesterday. Tesla at 272, basically flat to start the morning. So not bad on Tesla. We're not seeing the dip get eaten up, and we're not really seeing that much of a dip. So nice to see Tesla in the 270 range. NASDAQ opens up 60 points. Lower 13,859. Hims and Her stock $6.46, down 1%. Palantir down about 2%, 1550. Truist 3034 up 0.76%. UiPath 1839, still maintaining some of their momentum. They're down 4% on the day. Not sure why they're down 4%. Maybe macro related, but earnings were fine. Investors might just be taking profits on the shares that they bought. Enphase below 120 at 119. Enphase, the gift that just keeps on giving, right? Continuously giving us so much value at these beautiful, beautiful prices. Enphase, obviously, struggling a lot this year. It is down. I think investors will be happy in the next couple of years after this year if they bought the dip, but it is pretty painful to deal with some of these share price movements right now. S&P 500 446 down about 0.3%. C3 AI at $28. Disney 82.94 up a little bit now from the 80s since it was able to figure out that Charter Communication deal. Nvidia at 446. Again, my thesis for why Nvidia was down yesterday was because if Tesla is going to be able to benefit from a dojo type of product, then that just means less demand for Nvidia at the end of the day. So that's kind of my thesis there for why Nvidia is down a little bit. If this Adam Jonas report is correct, after reading the report, I don't know how quickly this Adam Jonas idea of $300 billion or $500 billion from Doja and enterprise value in a SaaS business is going to happen. I mean, it seems a little bit farther than 12 months away, but maybe I could be wrong on that. Google at 136, Celsius at 198, below 200, and Bitcoin coming back above 25,000, now at 26,000. So Bitcoin up a little bit. PayPal 62, Netflix 441, Robinhood 1085. Some news on Robinhood. Kathy Wood bought 522,000 shares yesterday. It wasn't a dip yesterday. It was up 1%. So I don't know why Kathy Wood bought the shares. It seems like either she thinks there's a lot of Bitcoin on Robinhood and crypto is going to get ready to get into a nice momentum over the next couple months, and she wants to have some more Robinhood exposure given the allocation of crypto that's on the platform, or she thinks the metrics are coming out tomorrow on August, which are going to be really good metrics, which means maybe she wants to have a little bit more exposure. Or, at $10.86, she's like, look, it's cheap. I just want to own another 500,000 shares. So she bought a couple $1 million worth of Robinhood yesterday. Tesla still at 271, so flat on the day. Tesla not doing bad. Palantir 1554 down about 1.6% on the day. A little bit of a red market, some green here, some red there, but nothing too crazy at all. Enphase below 120. SoftBank on the ARM IPO coming. That is correct. SoftBank is putting up the shares for ARM, and Robinhood and SoFi will be putting those out there. So if you're a Robinhood or shareholder, Robinhood or SoFi investor user, you'll be able to access those IPOs. Amit, are you invested in Enphase Drow? A little bit, not a lot. It's nothing substantial. Got a couple shares of my Roth, a couple shares of my regular portfolio. So yeah, I bought like 5-10 shares when it was at 140. And so for me, it's like, all right, it's whatever. It's like you're down $200-$300 for, people that we know that are heavily in heavily in Vitali, heavily in Enphase like Vitali. I don't know what his average is, but I mean, the dude's got a lot of shares, right? And it's not just Vitalik. There's a lot of people on FinTwit that bought this company in the 180s, 190s, because it was considered cheap for a growth stock. Then the growth stopped. Now it's not considered cheap. And that's the crazy shit that, I still consider it cheap, but there's still people that don't consider it cheap. So it's a tough company for a lot of people to deal with right now. But I think over the long term, it'll be fine. Uber plus PayPal multi-year deal expansion. Okay, so that's some news. Let's check that out. Uber, PayPal multi-year expansion. Let's see where the news is on this. All right, so here we go. We got Uber signs a multi-year deal with PayPal. Let me present my screen right here. Crossroads, thank you for that. It is Meet Kevin's number 2 holding. Yeah, he's been in Enphase for a very long time. I think it was Enphase when it was like $30. So he understood the microinverter story for a long time, and he obviously believes there's a lot of growth in the future. Uber has signed a multi-year global agreement with PayPal that expands its collaboration with the payments company. The ride-hailing company said Tuesday that the new deal builds on their existing relationship for global card processing. Uber will also allow PayPal's value-added services and wallet solutions and enhanced payment services for customers. It allow Instant Driver. The two companies have worked together since 2012. Yeah, makes sense. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of customers pay with PayPal, and it makes sense for them to be able to use Uber. PayPal, that's another part of its differentiated moat. I know a lot of people say there's a ton of payment processors. If you've been using PayPal for a long time, I think I bought something on PayPal yesterday. Man, like the fact that I could pay with PayPal and I could just press it and it's done, it's a moat. And I know people say, well, you could do that with Apple Pay. Yeah, but a lot of people don't use Apple Pay. So, the fact that you can just press something and you can get a payment done, it matters. It really, really matters. And the easier they make it for people, the better chance they are to continue to get people to use PayPal at the end of the day. Okay, so we had a bunch of stuff happen yesterday in regards to a lot of different CEOs and people talk about a bunch of different things. I want to pull a couple of things up. First thing I want to do is talk about the Disney charter deal, because that stuff impacts a lot of media stocks on top of that affecting Disney. And so let's get an update on that, and then we'll keep going from there. Someone says, what is Enphase's moat? They are one of 2 companies that creates microinverters underneath solar panels. And those microinverters are where the value is, not the solar panel itself. So if you believe solar is growing, you believe more people are going to be adopting residential and commercial solar, Enphase is going to be a company that just has tremendous demand over the next 5 years.
On the Disney Charter deal, let's bring in media analyst Rich Greenfield of Lightshed Partners. He's on the fast line for us tonight. Rich, great to have you with us. I'll pose the same question to you. Is this really win-win, or was there really a winner here?
I mean, look, Disney had to do this deal, Melissa. Like, when you look at the existential risk to ESPN from a permanent drop, and you got to give it to Chris Winfrey. He went to the, he really pushed harder than we've ever seen anyone push on Disney, and more specifically on ESPN. But Iger is an amazing negotiator, and he got a deal done. Did Charter get everything they want? No, I don't think Charter got everything they want. They certainly wanted lower penetration requirements for ESPN in terms of packaging. But look, they got Disney Plus being included at a very low wholesale rate. That's a clear win for Charter, and more importantly for Charter subscribers, meaning the consumers who are watching Fast Money right now. Disney caved on that, and that's not something Disney wanted to do heading into this negotiation. So I think you have to give Charter the win, but it's not as big of a win as Charter would have liked, and Disney avoids the existential collapse of ESPN.
Okay, now I agree with him heavily on that. Charter did not get a huge win because they gave up a bunch of stuff in the negotiation, but Disney needed to make sure that ESPN didn't go to shit. And in order for Disney to make sure ESPN didn't go to shit, right now Disney is trading at about $82. 83. Wow, it's up 1.67%, almost 84, $83.90. So the street likes the deal they made. They needed to be able to get that deal done at the end of the day. And so I'm happy Disney got that deal done, but there is still a lot of question about how Disney moves forward from here, especially when these disputes end up happening again. And so it's going to be interesting to see where Disney kind of takes it from here. Let me share the next piece of news that's incredibly interesting this morning. We had ARM IPO updates. TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductors, is going to put in $100 million in the ARM IPO. So TSMC, the world's largest contract chip maker, said on Tuesday it approved an investment in ARM of up to $100 million. They are the world's largest and most advanced chip maker. The Taiwanese firm manufactures semiconductors for Apple, NVIDIA, etc. In its prospectus, ARM said that technology companies, including NVIDIA, Apple, TSMC, and others, were purchasing 735 million shares. What I heard yesterday is that they are oversubscribed in their investing a round of the IPO by about $30 billion. That means there's $30 billion more demand than can be handled for the IPO, which is incredible at the valuation it's going public at. Now, one of the interesting things is it's actually going at a valuation cheaper than what SoftBank last publicly valued it at. So in 2021, SoftBank valued ARM at $70 billion. It's going public at $50 billion. So even though investors thought it would go public at $32 billion, which is where I think everyone, even retail investors, would be excited because that's the price underneath what NVIDIA was going to pay for it at $40 billion. So $30 billion would have been like, even $40 billion would have been just an incredible price. But now it's at like $55, $60 billion, which is still below what SoftBank paid back in 2021, but still pretty pricey for a company that's not growing as much, or at least had negative growth last year. Obviously, the growth in the future is going to be tremendous because it's vital in all of our day-to-day lives. This is one of those IPOs that's going to be really interesting because it's either going to flop or it's going to do really well, and a lot of people are going to double their money or triple their money within a day, and then it's going to flop. Eventually, I think it's going to come back to earth. I don't think it's going to stay stable at like 20% premium for a long time because it's just way too volatile. There's just too much institutional and retail interest, and so we're going to see what ends up going from there. Rocket Lab is down 12%. Any news? Maybe the rocket didn't go up. That's the only, if they had a launch today, why were they? Yeah, that's the only reason I could imagine they're down 12%. What happened today? Rocket Lab, where are they at? This is a stock I don't own. It's interesting, but again, it's more speculative growth, and I just don't want to continue being in these many speculative growth names. So Rocket Lab 539 down 10%. If anyone has an update on that, let me know in the chat. Either it's macro or something went wrong with one of their launches, and that's why they're down. SoFi, 4 cents, 3 cents away from $9. Look at that. SoFi is fighting for $9. It went to $8.90 yesterday, and I didn't really say anything because I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. But now it's getting kind of close. There it is, $9. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. SoFi hits $9. SoFi's up there. Now, why is SoFi hitting 9 today? Why is SoFi hitting 9? This is interesting. SoFi touches. We haven't seen 9 in a long time. We haven't seen 9. We have not seen 9. Why are we seeing 9 today? Interesting. SoFi again, well, they do have, I mean, their earnings is in November. The only thing I can point to is Anthony Noto at the Goldman Sachs conference was just incredibly, strong in terms of his remarks for what's going on with SoFi, student loan business, deposit growth, all that stuff. So maybe that's why the street's starting to recognize it a little bit. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm just going to tweet this out real quick. SoFi touches 9. Touches 9 Dolores. All right. So we got SoFi 9, Instacart IPO. Yeah, that's another thing. Wow, $9.06. It's running. It's actually running a little bit. Oh, they got a price, but that happened yesterday. They got a price target upgrade of 14. Oh, no. I think that happened yesterday after hours, Benny. You're right. Who gave them the price target? Hold on. SoFi price target. Who gave them this upgrade? Who gave it to them? Morningstar. No. Is it Morningstar? Does anyone know who gave them the upgrade? I think it's Morningstar. That is right. The upgrade got them higher, 1450. There you go. Well, Adam Jonas, Tesla's not the only one getting an upgrade, huh? So SoFi shareholders feel like we're part of the club now when it comes to upgrades. Okay. Morgan. Did Morgan actually give them an upgrade or not? Or are you joking? Freaking Morgan, man. No, man, it's student loans. Well, the student loan news, the student loan news, remember, that's not really, student loan originations are going to happen in Q3, but they're not really going to start till Q4. And on top of that, student loans is baked into the company. I mean, like the stock, everyone knows student loans are coming back soon. And there's no material significance SoFi has shown because they haven't had earnings about student loan growth yet. So I think it's the target upgrade. I think you're right about this. I'm pretty sure they got a 1450 price target upgrade. Hold on. Let me just go to Twitter real quick and search it. I'll find it right here. SoFi 1450. Let's see how good Twitter search is. We should find something. I got a result from 2021. That's how great Twitter search is. Twitter, you got to step it up, man. Come on, bro. 2021, give me a little bit better. It was Morningstar. I think it was. Okay, I don't even know. Well, regardless, they're up today. We'll try to figure out their results soon. But SoFi, look at that, $9.11. Wow, it's running today at 2%. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's go back to Tesla. Tesla 273. Look at that. Tesla's up as well. So Tesla is not selling off at all. Tesla is not selling off. That is so interesting. It's red on the screen, but it's pretty much green right now. Amit doesn't watch his good friend Tanner. No, I caught a little bit of Tanner's video yesterday, and I know there was a price target upgrade. I remember because in his title he said that, but I definitely didn't watch the whole thing, so I don't know who gave the price target upgrade. 273 on Tesla. I am very surprised that the Tesla story has not sold off yet. Up 10% or up even more than 10% now in a day. It's going to be obviously something that people want to take profits on. But if the street's letting you ride, one of the things that the reason why Tesla might be up is Meet Kevin had a great point yesterday that there's a lot of institutional under allocation that's going on in Tesla stock right now. Let me actually pull up that tweet. And that makes a lot of sense because it's a very similar argument to the 5.5 trillion that is sitting in sidelines in money market funds. All those trillions of dollars need a home. And if they need a home, eventually they're going to wait for a catalyst for that home to come. And if that catalyst, might be something like a price target upgrade. So some of that money might be going in there. But if institutions are under allocated in Tesla, then there's a very good shot that they're going to start to chase it before it rides up. The question just is, when are they going to try to chase, right? And it might be now. Morningstar. Okay, so it was Morningstar. I think it was. Okay, Morningstar. Yeah, I thought it was Morningstar. So Morningstar upgraded SoFi. That's why we're seeing the upgrade there. Okay, cool. So there we got Tesla there. SoFi continuing $9.09. That's pretty amazing. Look, if we can consolidate at $9 before we get to the next leg up, that would be nice as well. Let's get an update on where we think the S&P is going and some more news on markets. And then we will further go from there. The Apple event will happen in the next 3 hours. And so I'll be tweeting live about it. You can follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description if you want to see my thoughts on the Apple event. I cannot live stream it because of Apple being Apple. But it will be interesting to see what Apple presents and where they go from here. Okay, let's see if we An update here. It's hard for the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ to rally without the mega cap. So the argument here is that if the Magnificent Seven don't rally, then the entire market cannot rally.
Like a mini streak in the markets. The NASDAQ and the S&P coming off a 2-day win streak. Now futures in the red. What do you think is causing this, at least pre-market weakness? What are you expecting coming up?
Yeah, I mean, Oracle's weighing on NASDAQ, and yesterday was such a tech-driven rally, mostly a Tesla-driven rally, to be honest with you. And so I think you're kind of seeing this push-pull of, can the mega caps pull the market forward through year-end, or are we seeing this AI theme stall out a little bit? And it's a little hard for the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ to rally without the mega caps really working there. And so I think you need to be looking around at what's going to work going on in the back half of the year. Is this AI looking a little frothish, or do we think we can continue to see growth from these AI-focused companies like a NVIDIA or even like an Oracle like we saw yesterday? Just a little disappointment to the street after hours when they reported.
Yeah, a lot of today's narrative is certainly around tech, just in general. So just looking ahead to the day ahead, what is your WEX word of the day?
Well, I kind of cheated. It's 2 words.
See, I'm not the only guy that has a word of the day. You got CNBC hosts that also have words of the day. So my word of the day is obviously better every time, but still.
Technically, my word of the day is Green Day. That 90s, 2000s.
What? Green Day, the band? That's her word of the day?
Alt rock emu band, but their song is just perfect for the market right now. Wake me up when September ends. It's just an absolute euphemism. We don't think this market's going anywhere.
Okay, that's a bar. I'm not gonna lie. That's a bar. If anyone knows that song, that's a bar. That was a good one. That was a good one.
In September, historically a weak seasonal period, and we're seeing it play out here with August and September, kind of just doing the status quo of what August and September historically do. So yeah, wake me up when this is all over. We'll get back to work in October.
All right. I also
Wake me up when September ends. That was your local dose of singing with Amit. You know, I wanted to be a singer when I was little. I think it was by 10th grade I realized, like, yo, I just don't have the voice. I was trying to fake that I had the voice, and by 10th grade I was like, bro, I should just join the debate club because I can talk, but I can't sing. And I don't know if I would trade the talking for singing. Looking back, like if God came down to me, he's like, yo, you could have like a Michael Jackson voice, or you could have a communication style that allows you to speak and get people to like kind of listen when you talk. I think I would pick speaking over singing because, to be honest, like with singing, all you can do is make music. You can't really do anything outside of that except make music. With speaking, you could fucking take over the world if you like really put in the work. So I don't know. I think speaking is a lot more powerful than singing. Yo, you guys are mean about my voice. You're meaner to me than you were then. Actually, viewership went up. We went from 460 to 475. So it seems like my voice was like the birds in the morning that brought people. It woke people up. It came them, got them to come to the stream. You guys are mean to her, but you're meaner to me about my voice. I mean, why haven't you gone heavy in PayPal? I am heavy in PayPal, bro. Do I need to share my PayPal position again? Do we need to go back into Robinhood? Let's do it. Let's do it. Now I'm down on the PayPal position, which sucks, but I still think I got in at a decent price. Let's pull up the PayPal position. I have about $8,000 invested in PayPal, which for me is pretty heavy. That is a decent amount of money. Let's go to PayPal. Okay, so I bought call debit option spreads on PayPal with a $85 buy and a $125 sell. And so this is what it looks like. Right now, they're worth $4.37. At the low, they got to like $3.20. I bought them when they were $7. Okay, so I'm definitely down on that. So market value $4,800, down $3,000 right here. I bought them at $7. Average cost $7.21. Now I was up on these for a while, but then July 31st, everything went down. If you were, so I still think 430 is just an even more phenomenal price. 85 may look like it's a stretch for PayPal. But in all reality, once it's time for PayPal to do what it needs to do, not, $1.9 billion in buybacks that still have to be deployed, transaction margins, if they just show some sense of life, the market's going to give it a premium, and interest rates need to get a little bit lower, macro needs to get better. When those three things happen, which I think could happen in the next 6 to 12 months, 85 is not that crazy at all for PayPal. I mean, PayPal got to 73 pretty easily just off some of those catalysts happening. So when that comes back to normal, we're going to see PayPal get there. And I'm not too worried about this position. I do have, a good 18 months to see this whole play out. But we'll see. At the end of the day, it is a risk, and we'll see what PayPal can get to. There is a lot of interest in the $140 leaps for January 2025 on PayPal. So it's just a question of if PayPal can execute, and if they can, there's a lot of people that they're going to make some decent money in 2025. And so we'll see from there. 85 doesn't seem like a stretch at all. Yeah, it really like it's at 62 and people are like, oh, 85's not a stretch for PayPal. I mean, remember, PayPal, the fair value of this company is around 115-ish, 120-ish, if you just look at some of the math. And so they should be able to get there. If there was a great thread I saw on Twitter a couple of days ago, like if PayPal does not grow for the next 5 years, they are still undervalued. Like 0% growth, $62 is still undervalued for me. So this is one of those stupid opportunities the market's giving you. It's like Meta at 88, although it's not going to go triple like Meta did, because Meta's a real tech company that is, advertising revenue out the wazoo, and Meta didn't deserve to be at that level. But it is a situation where it does not deserve this price. Like it's obvious. Me, Vitaly, and Chris are heavily me with 8,000, right? Vitaly and Chris probably more in the 20s and 30s of thousands, I'd imagine, but they're heavily into PayPal as well. Carlos is the only one who doesn't care too much about it. But when we did the DD like a month ago, we were just in the WhatsApp for like 2 hours, and we were just like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And then we saw the layoff news. Then we saw the buyback news, 5 billion in buybacks. They laid off 2,000 people. We're like, what the fuck? Why is the market being stupid about PayPal? And then transaction margins is the bear case. It's like, all right, if that's the only bear case, I think they'll figure that part out, especially with the new CEO they have, which is pretty much a rock star in my, well, his resume is rock stars. I don't know what his performance will be, but what he did it into it seems like the guy knows what he's doing. Okay, I want to transition the topic here to Tesla, and I want to pose a question to the chat. This is what we saw. Actually, before we go to Tesla, let me quickly share the screen with you. This is some data that you guys may have not seen. Let me share this with you real quick, and then I want to talk about Tesla and Bill Gates to end it off. So the most downloaded apps in the world, August 2023. If you look at this chart right here, this is really incredible. Meta had 160 million downloads in 1 month via their family of apps: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Threads. That is insane. In August 2023, Meta, the company has 3-point-something billion users, got another 160 million people. I don't even know how there are that many more people on the planet. This should give you context of how big the world is. Like, this should give you context of how freaking big planet Earth actually is. For Meta, for Facebook, how does Facebook get 42 million downloads? Where everyone has a Facebook account and somehow it gets 42 million more people. That just shows you, and there's still 4 billion people that aren't even online, that are going to be online over the next decade, which should kind of show you where tech is growing and how these companies have even more room to grow. But 160 million downloads between their family of apps. Snapchat brought in 22 million, Telegram 25 million, Temu, which is a new shopping app. Let me know if people in the chat have used this. This is an app. It's Chinese cheap garbage, to be honest, but my uncle came over on Sunday to the house, and he was telling me he bought like 17 things from Temu, and I was like damn it, I don't know where they're advertising, but apparently they're advertising everywhere to get my like 80-year-old uncle to buy shit off Temu. It's one of those Chinese apps that's really growing rapidly in the context of shopping. And YouTube got about 9 million downloads on the iOS App Store last month. So these are the world's most downloaded apps. I think it's good data to understand Meta, whether you're a shareholder or not. For Meta to get 160 million people to care about their products in 1 month, I mean, Meta is just like, it is absolutely insane for Meta to be able to still do that. Okay, now here's one thing I want to end it on, and I want to get people's chat. So here's an article that said Bill Gates said Elon Musk was super mean to him following the Tesla short position. So Bill Gates said to the journalist that Elon became very mean when he found out about Bill Gates's short position, which is verified. He did have a short position on Tesla stock. And I thought this was a funny quote because, in my opinion, I'm like, well, yeah, if you like punch me in the face, I'm going to not be as nice to you as you want to be. Elon responded, just so the public understands, taking out a short position against Tesla as Gates did results in the highest return only if a company goes bankrupt. He's correct about this. A short returns like the most profitable it can return if the company goes to zero. Gates placed a massive bet on Tesla dying when our company was at one of its weakest moments several years ago. Such a big position also drives the stock down for everyday investors. This is also correct when you have such a massive short. To the best of my knowledge, Gates still has the massive bet against Tesla on the table. Someone should ask him if he does. The lack of self-awareness and hypocrisy of Gates, who had the nerve to ask me to donate to his mostly window dressing environmental causes while simultaneously aiming to make $500 million for Tesla's demise, boggles the mind. That is incredibly interesting. By the way, SoFi at $9.17, Palantir at $16. So we're seeing a little bit of a run up in the market. Let me ask this question and then we'll get into the charts. So my question is, first of all, I agree with Elon here. Gates environmental activism, all this shit, and then you're shorting Tesla. But here's my question. My question was, is it hypocritical given his fight against climate change via nonprofits to actually short a company that's doing, you would argue, the most for climate change, which is obviously Tesla? I mean, anyone can agree that Tesla is doing the most to transition the world to EVs, Mercedes, Honda. None of these guys would think about EVs if it wasn't for Elon freaking Musk. Or is it just the business, and business is different from activism? Meaning like, look, I think Tesla's overvalued, so I think Tesla's overvalued, I'm going to short it. And that has nothing to do with the upside of my profits and how I feel about climate change. I still think Tesla's a great company, but it's overvalued. So Tesla should be doing great for the world, but the stock price and the stock relationship of Tesla going up and rewarding shareholders has nothing to do with my individual personal feelings around climate change. And I'm not a hypocrite just because I take a short on an overvalued company. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. I'll actually make a poll out of it real quick, and then we'll get back to the charts. What do you guys think? Is that hypocritical or not? Or is that just business, and business is business? And we have to deal with that. Let's put it in the chat right here. Poll, hypocritical or not? All right, here we go. Okay, started poll, and now let me pull up some of these charts. Some of you saying hypocritical, some of you saying not. Okay, we'll see. Let's see what the poll says. All right, so we'll get to the poll in a second. Let's get back to some of these numbers here. So we got some momentum. We got Palantir at 1597, up 1.0%. So we're getting a little bit of momentum there. Disney, look at that. 84.34, breaking $81 today. Amazing for Disney. SoFi, $9.18. Wow. Look at that. Up 3% on the day. That's incredible. Oh my. That is incredible. There you go. SoFi, $9.18. Neo at 1070, it's up 3%. Fubo is up 8% on the day, making some momentum from yesterday's decline. Tesla, 278. Look at that. It's about to hit 280. 1.63%, up another 5 points today. The momentum is not that. Remember, the all-time high, or sorry, the 52-week high on Tesla was 299. If it breaks 280, that's a really interesting spot for Tesla being. SoFi now 916. Palantir 1595. Rocket Lab down 10%. What is the reason for this momentum? I don't know. Nvidia, look at that. Even Nvidia went from 446 to 454 in a matter of a couple of minutes. S&P at 447. Enphase now switched from 119 to 1 in 2022. I don't think there's any macro news that came out, but some of the bigger stocks in the market basically flipped in the past 10 minutes, as we're seeing right here. Okay, not bad. All right, let's see what people have to say in the chat. Franco says Tesla will go to 300 regardless, so it doesn't matter. Matt says whoever says it's not hypocritical is just an Elon hater. Okay, that's interesting. Blake says 277. Warren Buffett says I don't care, but Gates is an interesting person. Iger's putting out the fire pretty quick, it looks like, on Disney. Well, we'll see. They still have a lot of work to do, so let's see. Let's see the results on the poll. Yes, 71% of you believe it's hypocritical. 70% believe. Who doesn't think it's hypocritical? So I agree, it is hypocritical. In general, I wouldn't agree because it's like, look, if the company's overvalued, then you short it, whatever. The problem is Tesla's not just a regular company that's an overvalued short. Tesla's one of the companies that was going to fail beyond every level of imagination and somehow found a way to make it from a business perspective, you know, like to give shareholder returns. And then from a pure survival perspective, they mainstreamed the one thing that you need to get mainstream in order to make sure climate change isn't as bad in the future, which is electric vehicles. They figured it out. And so for a company to be overvalued, to do the one thing that no company in the history of mankind has ever been able to do, like, it's okay. Like, okay, we can give them a little bit of overvaluation. Like, they fucking figured out how to do EVs. Like, no one, we've had cars for hundreds of years. No one figured that out. Elon figured that out. Yeah, you're going to give it a little bit of a premium. And because it's that special, would you really short it? Right? Like, Bill Gates has how many billions of dollars? He wants to make more money off a short, off Tesla. That's the hypocritical part to me. It's like, dude, you're rich. You really need to short Tesla, the one company doing so much to get, I don't know. That's hard for me to imagine. So Blake says Bill Gates is about being jealous. It's about his ego and control, being the top dog when it comes to the environment. And that could be an argument. You know, maybe he wants to be the guy that goes down as the dude that saves the islands versus lives on the islands, if you know what I mean. So maybe that's what Gates is thinking of here. But I think it was not the best move on Gates. Definitely not the best PR move on someone who wants to help in the world of climate change. Tesla 276, SoFi 910, Pouncer 1593. Apple is red at 178. So markets went a bit green. We'll see if this momentum continues further, but not bad at all for the markets in terms of how they switched a little bit from red to green as we get into the morning. Okay, Garcia got that joke. He's laughing. Garcia got it. All right, that's it for me. This was awesome, everybody. Thank you all for being here. 450 people. We have Apple's event. I'll be live tweeting it, so please follow on X or Twitter. I'm going to put it in the description. It would mean the world to me, or I put it in the chat if you follow along on Twitter. And look, I'll be watching just like all you guys to see what Tim Cook has got cooking up, what they're presenting. I wish the Apple events were done live. Now they do it in this pre-recorded, like they do it in a weird way, bro, where they like, it's like the Steve Jobs days where you have to stand up live. And if something went wrong, you have to like deal with it. I wish those days would come back, but after the pandemic and they switched their presentation style, they kind of decided to mitigate all the risk. And so they stopped doing that. So we'll see if the iPhone 15 is interesting at all. I'm likely not going to be upgrading, but maybe they'll change my mind today. Maybe there'll be something there. All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I'll see you a little bit later. Some Pouncer videos coming out today on some different companies they're working with for AIP. Fine and Shunkies will be here 7 p.m. and we'll discuss everything that went on with Apple, and we'll continue this Bill Gates discussion, and we'll keep going from there. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. See you later tonight. Bye-bye.